Hey, you all, Carpetbagger here, and I am still fighting jet lag. This is like nothing I've ever experienced before. My friend Adam the Woo said recently that the traveling eastward is harder because of jet lag. Traveling westward, not so bad. Eastward, that's where you get the problems. When we flew to Hawaii, it wasn't that bad. We get 6 hours back in time, so it was like you wake up early in the morning, you feel more refreshed than you normally do, and then you have to get used to that. Moving 6 hours ahead in the future was punishing. I am on day 4 of just trying to figure out a way to be awake. It's real. You hear people complain about jet lag. I always wondered what people were complaining about with jet lag, because never left the continental U.S. before, and 3-hour change between the coasts. I've always been able to adapt really quick to that, but when you add an extra 3 hours in, it has been a little bit punishing. So I'm trying to keep my eyes open, trying to readjust to continental civilization. And so got back. We have got back from the big trip to Hawaii. I'm still digesting the idea of being in Hawaii, of seeing Hawaii. It was, I would say it's a once in a lifetime experience, but I'm already thinking in my head, at some point, I'd really like to go back to Hawaii. I'd really like to explore some of the other islands, and I miss Oahu. I'd love to go back to Oahu as well. It's like no other place I've been. It is truly an amazing place. I truly feel blessed and fortunate that I had a chance to go there. I had a chance to experience it, but it was an absolute amazing experience, and I am looking forward to visiting Alaska next year. That's kind of the penciled in plans. Don't have dates yet, don't have flights scheduled or anything, but I'd like by the end of next year, by the end of 2026, to have visited the 50 United States of America. But right now, let's go for a walk. And tonight, we're going to be walking around Lake Junalaska. A couple different places I like to go for walks around town. I sometimes just like to go to Main Street. Sometimes I like to go to the park where they have the creek that I walk alongside. And sometimes I like to go for a walk around this man-made lake over here in Lake Junalaska. I was going to head this way, but I'm afraid this goose will murder me. Hey, geese! You can see these two geese standing here. Those are the father geese protecting their teenagers and wives here. All right, geese, just gonna walk past here. Nothing to get alarmed about. I want to keep walking. No need to bite me or hiss at me. Oh, you just hissed. They're hissing. Oh, hey there. Oh. Oh, that hissing goose is terrifying. Now, one thing that I tried to take back from Hawaii with me is the spirit of aloha. And it was very interesting. When we first arrived in the airport, this voice, one of the most magnificent voices I've ever heard, started talking about the spirit of aloha, and talking about, that aloha was more than a greeting, which is something I did not know, that it is considered to be a way of life in Hawaii. It is based on patience, kindness, appreciation for your surroundings, and you kind of see in Hawaii the people do live by this creed that they, you know, they don't have a lot of expectations. They're not rushing around trying to get things done. They're kind of living life, just living, existing, appreciating. And sometimes, you know, when you're surrounded by beauty, when you're surrounded by paradise, I think it'd be a little easier to tap in to your aloha than when you are in, you know, some, you know, maybe some harsher environments. I am lucky enough to live in a place that is surrounded by natural beauty, by natural, just a nice, wonderful place to exist and to live. But I don't think you necessarily need to live in a beautiful place. I don't think you necessarily need to live in Hawaii or these beautiful mountains to embrace that spirit of aloha. And you know, I reflect on the way, you know, that I react to my surroundings, the way that I react to life around me, and I admittedly can get a little bit ahead of myself. I have, you know, if you watch the videos, I race from one place to another. Sometimes I have a very tight schedule I need to keep. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to stop. By no means am I going to stop living like that, but I think it is healthy to adjust my expectations, to take time. You know, an old expression that's overused is stop and smell the flowers. And while I've got a chance to see all these amazing things, to be at all these amazing places, to visit all these amazing places, sometimes I don't enjoy them as much as I possibly could, because I'm always on to the next thing, always on to the next place, not stopping to smell the flowers, not necessarily tapping in to the spirit of aloha. And I think that's something I'm going to work on. Something I try to take back with me from my trip is the ability to just take a moment to appreciate my surroundings. Now, this isn't 100% new concept to me. You know, I've worked on trying to do mindfulness exercises in the past, just appreciating the moment I'm in. Admittedly, I don't do that enough. I don't stop enough to tap in to the beauty of the moment as often as I should. So I think that's something I'm going to work on. I think we're going to try to find a balance. Find a balance between the aloha and the carpet tensity that I tend to live my life by. It's been the past 10 years on this channel. There's been a lot of rushing, a lot of intensity, a lot of focus on getting here, getting there, getting to the next place. And while I don't intend to slow down, well, I guess that's up for debate. Should I slow down? Should I worry less about making it here, making it there? Should I embrace the aloha more and just worry about getting, worry less about getting from place to place and worry more about fully appreciating where I am, fully appreciating the moment? Because the thing about having expectations, you have these expectations that everything's going to be amazing, everything's going to be exciting, is that it's hard. It's hard to live up to those expectations. The expectations I set for myself for how I expect my travel to occur, I think they may be unrealistic. So I don't know. I'll be doing some searching of the mind, soul, and body in the upcoming days, weeks, months, years, decades, and trying to figure out, am I living, it's another phrase, living your best life. I am so grateful for the life I have, so grateful for the privilege that I have to be able to do something I love for a living, to be able to travel for a living. But, I think it's always good to try to reach towards making yourself a little bit better. To look at things that you could do better for yourself, for the people around you, and work towards that goal. So I think, it really got me thinking. Just visiting to Hawaii, learning about the spirit of aloha. It's really got me something, reevaluating the way I think, the way I react to things, and I try to. I haven't had a lot of time since I've been back because I've been in a coma from jet lag. But moving forward, I do hope to incorporate that in my everyday life.
Imagine that I get 500.
But what I did want to talk about this evening is kind of the why and how. Why I proposed to Jen and how I went about doing it. Um, so, first of all, I just want to say that asking someone to marry me, um, getting married, is not something I take lightly at all. Um, I have been married before. I was married for 20 years. That's an immense amount of time to be married to somebody. I was married for someone for 20 years, and the marriage ended in divorce. Of course, for those of you who've been following the channel for a long time, I was married to someone else when I began making these videos. I was married to my ex-wife Christy, who is the mother of my children. And I wouldn't say, I could say, oh, I went through a hard divorce, but I think that would be somewhat misleading. The divorce was hard because all divorces are hard. My divorce was probably as easy as it gets for someone in my situation. There was no fighting over property, no custody of children. The children were adults or near adults, and so it went what you would call probably what you'd call smoothly. There wasn't a lot of conflict. It was me and my ex trying to figure things out. I did go for a period. By my own choice. So I don't want to come off the wrong way, but essentially, during the years, the 2 or so years that I was going through my divorce, I was, homeless in the sense that I didn't really have a permanent residence, and that's again my decision because of what I do for a living, because I travel for a living. I thought, oh my gosh, the lake actually blinding me with reflection of sunlight. There we go. Because the nature of what I do, because of the nature of my traveling, I made the decision to not rent an apartment or anything like that. I just stayed on the road. There was, was able to stay in the extra bedroom at the house that I own, that my ex was staying in at the time. But it was a pretty intense in the sense that I was always moving, always on the move. I put my full everything into filming during that time. And so like I said, I've seen ugly divorces around me. I've seen people go through bad divorces, and what I went through was not that. However, I do take it very serious, the concept of you spend 20 years of your life with someone, and instead of just seeing it out to the end, you have to you make the decision to end that marriage. So I put the last few years of my marriage, I'm not going to go too far into any sort of problems me and my ex had. That's not right. That's not fair to her. Because I have this platform that she does not have. So I don't want to speak for her too much, because she doesn't have a way to correct anything that I may say. But we spent the last couple of years trying to fix things. By the time we reached the end point where we decided to get divorced, it was a mutual decision. It was the agreement that we had tried everything that we could, and it still was not working. I think the geese let me go out on this dock. It says maintain a 30-yard distance from all swans. Do not feed. Fortunately, these are not swans. These are geese. I don't think I'm supposed to feed them either, but I can get closer. Now look at this. This lake definitely has some beauty to it. What does that say? Be still and know that I am God. Here at the end. Yeah, this is Lake Junalaska itself is kind of, I don't know the correct way to say it, but it is a meeting point for people of the Methodist faith. But guests are welcome to come and walk around the beautiful lake here. So when I met Jen, I was still legally married to my ex in North Carolina. It's a little harder to get divorced than it is in some states. Some states you can just go get divorced the day that you decide. North Carolina, you have to live separate from each other for an entire year before you can even file for divorce. So yeah, that's in my idea. I guess they're trying to make it not easy to get divorced, which divorce, marriage, both things that should be taken very serious. So yeah, I had to kind of wait out that time before I could file for a divorce. But and as I just got done saying, my divorce was easy as far as divorces go, but no divorces are easy. So yeah, it's a hard thing to go through. It's a hard thing to go through, changing your life, changing something, a situation that you've been in for 20 years, making that decision that you're going to start anew, you're going to start living your life in a different way, that your goals are going to be different. It's a big transition. Now there's some of those Lake Junalaska swans. You do got to watch out for the swans. They will get you. Beautiful, but deadly. So I'm not going to say like I was in a bad place or I was, going through hard times, but the transition out of a marriage, transition of a divorce is, it is a tumultuous time. You have made the decision to turn your life upside down, to recreate what your life is. So, I think there's a tendency, when you're going through that, to feel lonely, to feel like, you don't know where you're going to go, you don't know what's going to happen. And it was during this period that I started talking to Jen. Jen emailed me out of the blue, and we got to talking just because we liked each other. Much like me, I think the things that caught my attention about Jen was that she was, that she appreciated all the silly, goofy things that I did. Not even necessarily all the same things, but just she appreciated goofy and fun things. She had been through her own separation recently. She was newly single after coming out of a long relationship. So there was a lot of that she was very supportive. If I was just thinking about something or dealing with something, then I someone I could talk to, someone that could relate to what I was going through. So just during that time, it was just a godsend to have someone that was willing to listen, someone that was willing to hear me just try to figure things out, just try to straighten things out in my head about what was going on. And like I said, she was just, she was, Jen, she was charming. Just the funny little things that she loved, the funny little things she was interested in. And, I could see that, kindred passion for just an appreciation for the ridiculousness and silliness that is in life. That was a shared thing that I could see in her. I think, a lot of times on this channel, it gets brought up that Jen has health problems, that she is working on her health problems. And, the fact that she has had this difficult life, and I'm not trying to like do a sob story for Jenn or anything, because that's not how Jenn looks at things. Jenn has had a lot of challenges in her life, a lot of challenges with her physical health, and it hasn't changed how she sees the world. She still appreciates the world for what she can do. She's way more aloha than me in her spirit. So like, if she planned to do something, she had these grand plans of something she was going to do, and then she gets sick and can't do them. She doesn't let that get her down. She doesn't let that make her fall apart. Walking through a labyrinth right now. She doesn't let that make her fall apart. She just moves on. She waits until next time. She looks for the next opportunity, and that's something I really appreciate about Jenn. Through that period of time, she was just a great encouragement. Someone that she's not always in a good mood, because no one's always in a good mood, but someone that was just so resilient. I think resilient would be the perfect word. She was, she had these challenges, she had these things, and she could always bounce back from them. And if it caught up with her, it caught up with her. But next time, she would make sure to enjoy life as much as she could. And that's kind of her creed. What she's told me before is, she is sick so often, and she is unable to enjoy things that she likes with a regular frequency. So when she's healthy, when she's feeling good, she likes to, enjoy things with a passion, enjoy things, dive all in. And I think that's something I really love about Jenn. It's not possible, I don't think, to get lost in one of these labyrinths. It's like a maze, but it only goes one way. This may be a good way to practice your aloha by being in these mazes. You just think about the walking, you think about your surroundings, and you just head towards the center. And here in front of the George R. Stewart Auditorium is the man that Lake Junalaska is named after. This is Junalaska himself. Kind of a tragic figure, in all honesty. He rescued Andrew Jackson. They fought together with Andrew Jackson, and that is said to have saved Andrew Jackson's life. So allowed Andrew Jackson to go on to become president, and then commit cultural genocide against Native Americans. Another thing about Jenn is that she thinks I'm funny. She laughs at my jokes. She laughs when I'm being silly, if you will. And that's important, because there is, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there who find me highly annoying. There's a lot of things I love about Jenn, about her laugh, her smile, her refusal to care what other people think about her. That she celebrates life, she celebrates her own life without constantly worrying about what other people think. Refusing to let other people take her joy. Something that I myself, it took me a while to learn about myself, or learn how to do in my own life. I see that in her. Much like myself, Jenn, if she wants to do something, wants to see something, she does it. She will pick up and go do something. A lot of times if she sees something she wants to do, she'll ask me if I want to do it with her. If it's something, something that I'm interested, she'll wait and we'll do it together, try to do it together. If it's something I'm not interested in, she'll just go do it herself. If it's like a concert or something like that I may not be interested in, she won't she won't let me not being interested in something let her let that affect whether or not it's going to be something that that she does or she enjoys. And that's a philosophy that I learned myself. That's why I started traveling by myself, because I wasn't trying to find other people that were interested, trying to find other people that wanted to see the same things. And sometimes you just couldn't, and sometimes you had to make the decision, I'm going to go do something myself. And by the time I met Jen, she was already living her life by that code. So yeah, love her confidence, love that that she's able to just enjoy life on her own. And yeah, just how supportive she's been of me over the years, supportive of all these different adventures that I go on. Yeah, I think that's a really big part of it, is just how supportive Jen has been of my traveling, my job, just recognizing the things that I feel like I need to do for the channel. And I think that kind of speaks to I think something that is part of the really strong foundation of me and Jen's relationship. And that is, how do I explain this? I think we both talked about this. Dolly Parton was talking about her husband Carl Dean, who's now passed. And Dolly said, because Dolly had been criticized because of the relationship with her husband. Her husband didn't like fame. He didn't like to be part of the spotlight. So he chose to not be part of that. He chose to stay home while she toured. And Dolly said of her husband Carl Dean that he gave her the greatest gift of all, which is her freedom to be herself, her freedom to be herself, in the full form, like an uncompromised version of herself, the Dolly Parton that everyone loves. He never asked her to stop being that. He never asked her to become something else. And I think that's a really strong foundation in me and Jen's relationship, that she loves me for who I am, and I love her for who she is. That's warts and all. That's the good and the bad. And she's never asked me to change who I am. She never wanted me to change anything about myself. I mean, there's some things like don't just leave garbage everywhere, but that's not really a personality trait, as it is just a bad habit. But and I feel the same way about her. I feel the same way. Like, if you love someone, then you have to love them for who they are. If you love part of someone, and then your goal is and then they're probably then I want to get at them to change that other part of them that I don't like. That's not really loving that person. So she she doesn't ask me to change who I am, to change, especially in regards to this channel. She's been so encouraging of me continuing to travel, continuing to make videos. She doesn't she's just incredibly flexible, when I'm traveling, when I'm going to be gone. I think this is part of our relationship that maybe people don't get. So I don't know if this is going to make any sense, because I think people just don't, I don't know, something about it does with a lot of people. It doesn't seem to click with how that works. Likewise, I wouldn't want her to change anything about herself. If I could make her more healthy, I would, but that's not something that's that I can do with a magic wand. I'm sure she wants to be healthy as much as I want her to be healthy. If I could, I would have her travel with me more, that we would travel more together. But that's not the reality of things. And so, we have an understanding that when, especially if I'm going somewhere, she has a lot of places that she really wants to see. So like I said, she has health. Her health dictates that she has a limited amount of energy that she can expend doing things. So I don't ask her to expend energy doing things that she's not passionate about. But if there's something that I'm doing that she is passionate about, then we try to make it so that she can come with, so that she can experience that. And yeah, I think we figured it out pretty good. I know some people like to comment and talk bad about our relationship, but I'm very happy with our relationship, and I don't want to speak for her, but I think me and Jen, I think we have it figured out, because if we didn't accept each other for who we are, then it's not a relationship between each other. It's a relationship of an idealized version of each other. As I said at the beginning, marriage, something I take very seriously. When I entered my first marriage, I was very young. I believe I was 21, 22 years old, I think. And again, it ended in divorce. So, it was, a lot of hard thought went into me asking Jen to marry me. It wasn't something that I just did on the spur of the moment. Something I had been thinking, well, some of it I did on the spur of the moment, but something that I had been thinking about for 4 years. Obviously me and Jen have made serious commitments in other ways. We moved together. That in some ways may even be, I would say, equal to getting married in the level of commitment. She moved across the country, and that was a major commitment. So again, I wanted to put a lot of thought into it. Didn't want to jump right in. I had thought about just the concept of marriage, like the thoughts like, is marriage itself important? Like, should it be just a relationship? Is marriage necessary? And I thought a lot about those things, and for multiple reasons. I do think marriage is a way to show your commitment to someone, to show that you're willing to put it in writing, that you are the person I want to be with, that you are the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And for the reasons that I mentioned, I can't imagine being with someone else. I can't imagine not being with Jen. So that definitely pushed me towards the opinion that marriage was the right option. And as well, you want the person you care about. If something were to happen to me, if I were to get in a car accident, if something bad would have happened to me, I would want Jen to be protected. If I died tomorrow, I have a YouTube channel that is still generating revenue from old videos. I would want protection for her, that she was able to go on having this channel be part of her income, and creating that cushion for her if something were to happen to me. So for those two reasons, I think when it said it's a long decision. I think when she got in her car accident, I think that's probably when, in reality, I made, whether I knew it or not, I think that's when I made my final decision that if something differently had happened, if it had been me in the car accident, and it had been something more severe, if I had been killed or maimed, that she would have, the protection, that she would be able to, you know, have that level of security. That was important to me. So it's multi-level, because marriage exists on multiple levels. It exists on like the legal thing, the legal protections that someone can have, as well as, you know, the symbolic implications it has of commitment, of, because, you know, you take the logic, you know, it's like, oh, why get married? What does that even mean? But at the same time, you know, why not? Why would you choose not to? And after weighing those, I you know, it became very clear that that was what I wanted, and that's why I asked her for all those reasons listed that I just listed. So I've made the decision. You know, with this car accident happening and everything, that it is time. It is time. It is 100% the right thing. It is what I want to do. So everything was coming together very quick. I got back from my US 1 road trip. Just had a very short time to turn around before we were supposed to go to Hawaii. And as we were getting packed, as we were getting ready to head out, I thought to myself, I need to ask her in Hawaii. That's the perfect place to ask somebody. If I just let it pass, I mean, that would be stupid. If I just asked her somewhere else, why would I ask her somewhere else if I could ask her in Hawaii? So while we were getting ready, I went into her jewelry box and I swiped a ring. I didn't know what size ring she wore, so I swiped one of her grandmother's rings. She had told me before that it fit her. So I'm like, okay, this ring fits her. If I can take this ring to a jewelry shop, they can size the ring so it will fit her. So I swiped the ring, put it in my stuff, and we're flying to Reno. So I'm like, Reno? There's got to be engagement rings in Reno, because Nevada is the silver capital of the United States. So there's got to be some jewelry here, got to be some jewelry shops. Also, people gamble their life savings away in Reno, so there'll be some pawn shops where people have traded their engagement rings. And so I decided I was going to get her ring while we were in Reno. It ended up getting put off a little bit. The first day I went out filming, and I got back late, and I checked all the shops were closed. I thought in my head, I'm like, well, they're probably going to be open 24 hours because people in Reno are trading, buying, selling jewelry 24/7. No, they're not. They actually closed at like 5 or 6. So the next day, I'm filming in Virginia City, and ends up taking, I'd never been to Virginia City before. It ends up being far larger than I imagined. So I get done a little later than I planned. I'm like, oh, dang it. But I saw there was a jewelry store in the mall open. So I go to the jewelry store, I rush over there, and I show them the ring. And then Jenn is like texting me. She found out I was done in Virginia City, and she's like, oh, you know, what do you want to do for dinner? I'm like, oh, well, I gotta run to Walmart. I gotta get some stuff. And so so I'm trying to like throw her off on where I'm going. So I go to the jewelry shop while I'm supposed to be at Walmart, and I pick out a ring. I wasn't sure what kind of ring she wanted, so I just went with my gut, looked for something that I thought Jenn would think was nice, something that I thought fit her personality, and I picked out the ring. So I'm like, okay, we got the ring. I'm like, it needs to be resized, show them the other ring. Okay, yeah, we can do that. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let me pay for this ring, and then we're gonna go, and I'm gonna give it to her. And they're like, well, actually, the jeweler has to come in the morning and resize the ring. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to be on a plane tomorrow. And they're like, I'm like, sorry, I gotta go. Like, to figure something out. We have to buy something in Hawaii. She's like, no. We can get it done early. Asked what time I had to be on the plane, and she said, no. We can get it. It'll probably be right before then, but we can get it ready. I'm like, okay. So I'll find an excuse to come back. And here's the thing: I'm a terrible liar. So I'm trying to think of excuses to get back to the jewelry store before, in the morning. I try to explain this to Jenn. Jenn out of nowhere is like, yeah, I want to get to the airport an hour early. There's something I need to work out with my ticket. My ticket's confused. I'm like, oh dear. And then so she's like, let's eat breakfast in the hotel tomorrow. I'm like, actually, let me go out and get us breakfast. And she's like, well, we could just eat here. I'm like, yeah, but the food's probably not good here. Let me go out and get something. She's like, okay. I think she did tell me later at this time she said she didn't know what I was doing, but she said that I was acting weird. So coming up with all these excuses, you know, I had to go all the way to the mall, all the way back. So she's like, oh, that took a long time. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. So I got the ring in time, got back, got it in my pocket, and got on the plane to Hawaii. So during our entire time in Hawaii, I had that ring in the pocket of my cargo pants, because I was like, if the perfect moment comes up, I want to be able to do it right then. If you know, if the moment strikes, I want to be able to do it. So I looked at our schedule and I'm like, okay, but I should have a default place. I should pick the best, of all things we're doing, I should pick the best one that's the most appropriate to propose. And we're going to Kualoa Ranch twice. Once for the general tours and then once for the Jurassic tour. So I was thinking I should propose to her in Jurassic Park. I think that would be amazing. It's one of her favorite movies. And I think I'm gonna propose to her in Jurassic Park, but I still kept it in my pocket in case a better time manifested. And well, funny thing was, when the first time we went to Kualoa, my ring, the box, we were sitting really close together, and the box kept poking her in the leg. She's like, "Ow, something in your pocket keeps poking me." And she's like, "I'm like, what's wrong?" And she's like, "That, whatever that is right there." And she like literally like pointed at the box at my pocket. It was like, "Whatever that is, it's poking me." I was like, oh, sorry. So I tried not to poke her with the ring anymore. So yeah, so the day was coming up. We were going to the Jurassic Park tour, but we'd already been to one tour for Kualoa, and I was like, it'd be really cool to ask her what I really thought was maybe in front of the log that's from the original Jurassic Park. And I'm like, but they don't give us a lot of time. So am I able to get it done without being rushed? I didn't want our engagement to be rushed. So I came, and then I also thought to myself, well, if I do it in the middle of the Jurassic tour, this is the thing that she's been looking forward to the most. So if she's going to be thinking about the engagement, she's going to be thinking about this, it'll kind of ruin her trip. I wanted to enhance it, not ruin it. So I thought it may be too distracting. So I wanted her to enjoy the trip. So what I settled on was, across the street from Kualoa Ranch, there was a beautiful view, a mountain or an island that sticks up, known as the Chinaman's Hat. And I thought, you can literally see Jurassic Park from here. So you can see out to the ocean, the islands on one side, you can see the Jurassic Park mountains on the other side. So I'm like, I think this would be right. So I waited till after the tour, and I said, why don't we go over to the beach afterwards? I'd really like to go see that beach. And I set the camera up and told her to come. I didn't do it as smoothly as I wanted to. I had like idea in my head of how smoothly I was going to do it. And really, if you look at the video, I'm all fumbly and nervous and awkward, but that's kind of who I am, fumbly, nervous, and awkward. So I asked her, she said yes. She was, you saw the video. She was, and I know that you couldn't hear. I wasn't concerned about getting our vocals on the video. I thought it was nice to be able to have that as a private moment, but also be able to share with you guys. So kind of the best of both worlds. So after all that, I finally asked her. She said yes, and she actually went today to get the ring resized for the second time. So here's the thing. I didn't know this. Apparently one of her hands is bigger than the other. I don't know if that's for everyone, but it fit. The ring that I got fit her on her. No, I'm thinking it's left hand. This hit her on her right hand, but not her left hand. It was sliding up and down. She didn't want to lose it, so she either wore it on her other hand or put it in the box for safety. But she actually took it to the jewelry shop today, and is going to get it resized so it actually fits. So that is the story of how and why that I asked Jen to marry me. And I probably forgot things, I probably forgotten details, probably rambled a little bit in this video. But yeah, I will we'll see how things unfold. We'll see what we still got to enter the planning phase of our getting married, however that ends up looking like. I think I may not be filming the next 2 days. We are going out of town for a day or two. Jen has a medical appointment out of town. I was going to go with her. So I think I'm going to take a few days off, and this jet lag that I am still fighting, hopefully we can get closer to back to being a normal person. Yeah, it's all about that eastward travel that messes you up. I've learned a lot about jet lag because of this trip. And then once we get back, I'm probably going to be in this area for a little bit, as in a few days, and then got family stuff coming up. I'm going to be going to the Chicago area. Every year I go visit my mom in northern Indiana to visit the family for the 4th of July weekend. We kind of usually stay there around a week, so I'll probably do some filming up there, but I probably will take some days off as well. But after that, the next leg of our journey continues. It is, of course, the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles here on the Carpetbagger channel. And we just did a lot of planes. During the beginning of the year, we did a lot of trains. Took a lot of westward heading train routes. And I think we're going to go back to the automobile portion. Of course, I did the US 1 road trip up and down the East Coast. Well, I thought we should do the equivalent of that on the West Coast. So my plan as of now is to head out to the West Coast and do the Pacific Highway road trip from San Diego to Seattle. I'll be driving up the West Coast. So I hope you guys will join me for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, we're going to get some things before that, going to visit some family before that, but then we're going to kick into full gear heading out to the West Coast. Now, if you guys like these videos, please subscribe. If this was the first video of mine you've seen, probably not a good place to pick up, because I'm talking about stuff that you guys wouldn't even know about. But if you go back and watch some of the other videos and you like them, please consider subscribing. I travel around the country. I film roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun random stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more gets you a postcard once a month from me to you. The souvenir shop is back open. If you want to receive a souvenir, a pressed penny, an enamel pin, a motel key fob, those are all in the description of this video. Also doing personalized messages on Cameo if you're interested in receiving that. Again, all those things are in the description, and all those things help keep this train on the track, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.